Hi, I'm Natalie Allen. I'm a fourth-year PhD candidate in Forestry and Natural Resources. I grew up in Gainesville, Florida, which is kind of North Florida. Growing up, I spent as much time as I could outdoors. My parents would have to call me in, tell me to come inside and, wash off the dirt because I would just be outside catching lizards. And so that definitely kind of sparked my love for the outdoors and my interest in studying it. In school, my favorite class was always biology. I always loved the science classes. Definitely gravitated towards the ecology and environmental science classes. I did my undergrad at Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and that's where I really got into evolutionary biology and genetics. I wanted to pursue genetics because it allows you to study any species that you want. That gives me the flexibility to really study different systems throughout my career. I've worked in a lot of different species. I've worked on the western chicken turtle, which is a freshwater turtle that's found throughout the southeastern United States. That kind of helps inform some conservation decisions. I also work on gray whales, which is a cool project. They're present throughout the North Pacific. There was some question about whether the populations on either side of the Pacific were really distinct groups or not. So we did whole genome sequencing in both groups, in the Eastern and the Western Pacific, and that enabled us to find out a little bit more about the amount of gene flow between each side of the Pacific. But I'm also interested in just broad evolutionary questions, so I'm using publicly available genomic data to look at trends in different taxonomic groups and kind of comparative genomics. From a conservation perspective, genetic diversity is a really important indicator of how much adaptive capacity a population or a species has. In the long term, I hope that my projects can inform management decisions, conservation decisions, because often we're studying species that are either elusive, where it's kind of hard to study it in the wild. Like the gray whale, you can imagine, is kind of hard to study because they're huge, very mobile marine species. So I think the genetic data gives us a better sense of the overall picture. And in the long term, I think my goal is just to improve our capacity to analyze genetic and genomic data and move forward science in that way. To be here and working on all these different species, I mean, if I told myself when I was a kid that I get to work on gray whales, I would have been so excited and mind blown. So it's really awesome to be here and be this far into my PhD and kind of seeing some of these projects come together.